Hello everyone. This video is a book review about a book that was given to me as a present by my wonderful mother. And the title of this book is Sisters, Venus and Serena Williams, and it is a biography by Jeanette Winter. Now, even though my mother doesn't know I have a YouTube channel at all, she does know that I love collecting children's books, and I particularly like this one because I like having a collection of children's books for black children or featuring people of color or African descent. So I really connected with this story, even though I am an only child. I've never had any siblings at all, but I love seeing the relationships between sisters, brothers and sisters, and I especially love the story of Venus and Serena Williams. So before I get started on the book review, let me share with you a little bit about the author. Now, the author is also an illustrator. Her name is Jeanette Winter. Currently, she's about 82 years old, I believe. And this book was published in 2019. I've actually come across some of Jeanette Winter's titles. There was one called Henri Scissors, which was about an artist who created collages while he was in bed, because he was either too ill to move or something had happened to him. She also wrote The World is Not a Rectangle, a portrait of architect Zaha Hadid. Another story that I read by her is, Biblioburo, a true story from Colombia. She also wrote a book about, or either wrote or illustrated a book about Wangari Maathai, who planted so many trees in her country. I believe it was Kenya. So this author is very diverse in the subject matters that she chooses to write about and chooses to illustrate. And that's why I really, really like her. Now, I did come across an article online where somebody was interviewing her, and I got more information from that article than I did from the one in the back of the book. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of what she said. It states that she loved drawing and telling stories with pictures when she was a child, but she didn't have exposure to people who were illustrators. They didn't come to her school or talk about it, not like in more modern times, or people will come to school, or people in certain careers will come to school and tell you about their careers. Usually be like doctors or some corporate profession, but it was rarely artists and musicians. She says, when she was young, children's authors did not visit schools and therefore seemed mysterious and alien to a youngster growing up in Chicago. She says, they were almost like characters themselves. I didn't have an unusual name. I didn't live in an exotic place on the side of a mountain. The connection between her classes in painting, drawing, and printmaking and professional illustration eluded her. Having no mentor to shepherd her through the world of children's publishing, Winter embarked on a program of self-instruction. I really connected with that because I started illustrating when I was 14 years old, and I had no idea what I was doing. But other artists helped me through it. They gave me advice, which they're still doing to this day. So even though I have about 6 books that I self-publish, I'm still learning how to make it look as professional as possible. So she practiced skills such as layout, pacing, and maintaining the consistency of characters between pages by illustrating familiar nursery rhymes. Now, there's something about her style that I really, really like, and I wish it's something about outlining. It's something about using colors She clung and found that color played a more dramatic role. She has a clean and simple style with her illustrations, as you can see from this book. Very clean and simple, but very powerful. Like, you don't need that much detail to tell a powerful story. So as I stated earlier, this book was published in 2019. And the author is Simon & Schuster, the publisher is Simon & Schuster, which has very, very powerful books. When you open the book, the first page right here has Venus and Serena Williams, and it has their family. So I like that she added their full name because I didn't know their full names. So it's Venus Ebony Starr Williams and Serena Jamaica Williams are the youngest sisters in a family of 5 girls and a mother and a father. I believe it was either a year or 2 ago, I did a book review on Venus and Serena Williams, and I learned a little bit about their family. So I know their mother and father were very good at practicing, honing their children's skills, pushing them to the limit. Now, out of the siblings, Yatunde right here, she was murdered in, I think, 2003. So that's one fact I remember from her family, or their family. It was very sad. So it shows them just being little girls in Compton, California. Now, I do not know much about Compton, California, but from what I've been told, I don't know if it's still that way now, but apparently back in the day, it was very dangerous, according to people telling me about it. But I don't know. Some things are just hearsay. But apparently their neighborhood was a very, very dangerous neighborhood, not a safe place for little girls to be running out by themselves or just like walking out and about, because gangs, bullets, they have no names. But anyway, it says, outside in the darkness, life goes on till early dawn. What I enjoy about this author is that she says so much by saying so little. She just lets the pictures tell the words. So look, they're just out in the court, just doing the things that happen in the dark. You don't know what they have in their hands. They're dealing. It's all sorts of things. But it's very, very subtle, which I like. But it shows the danger that these children were in. When the sun rises up over the sisters' sleepy beds, Daddy and Mama want their 2 youngest girls to learn tennis. They have dreams for their future. Daddy and Mama even learn to play tennis so they can teach Venus and Serena to play. That part, this part right here, I worked with children about 13 years, and it's very true that if you have high expectations for a child, they can reach it. If you have low expectations, they'll either reach the minimum or they won't even try at all. But these parents, even though they were in very dangerous circumstances, they had a higher vision for their children. When I worked in the library, a lot of people would bring me their children to tutor. And what was interesting was a lot of the people that were impoverished, they only stuck to the vocabulary words that the teachers gave the children. They only limited their children to books at certain reading levels. They'd be like, oh, they can't read that, that's hard. Oh, this is not on their list of 100 power words that their teacher gave me. But what was really fascinating were the parents who had a higher income bracket and parents who were, I guess, from out of the country. They had no limit on what they wanted their children to learn. So they didn't come in with any type of 100 list of power vocabulary words that their teachers would give the students. They just grabbed a book that was usually maybe 3 grades ahead. Or they would get private tutors, or they would take their children to like free tutoring after sessions or after school sessions. They tried to supplement the child's education over what the school taught them. And that is what Venus and Serena Williams' parents did. They basically had the vision of them as athletes in their minds. They mastered these skills so they would always have a teacher with them at all times. And they practiced and practiced and never gave up. They kept this vision in their mind. So it shows in the book their father taking them to the court. And it says, Daddy tells the boys his girls need to practice their tennis. So right over here, I don't know what's on their hat, but apparently I think these are either some gang members because they're all wearing the same clothes, or they're just up to no good. I remember there was, it was either an article or it was something I read in a book where when they were playing tennis, there'd be bullets flying. I don't know if it would be flying towards the tennis court or be flying around, but they still had to concentrate on their goals. So even though their life was in danger, they were actually in a life and death situation if they continued to stay in that environment. And that's pretty sad because their sister, I believe she got killed in Compton, but that was when she was an adult. And that was gang related too. But she was not the target. It was her, I believe it was her boyfriend was the target. But just that association or just being in that environment affects everybody, even if you're not involved. So, on this page, the author has they're almost like twins, has the little girls playing, showing all of the tennis lingo, serve, volley. The simplicity of this page shows practice, practice, practice. Practice isn't just a one-time thing. You got to do it over and over and over and over and over until you get sick of it. And then when you get sick of it, you got to do it 5 more times. That's what I did with my art. I just practice and practice. I started when I was a little girl and I just kept going, and I'm still going to this day and doing it with new skills. So if you have something that you're practicing right now and you feel discouraged, you just got to keep going until you're a master of it. It may take years, but as long as you hone those skills, you'll be proud of yourself that you tried your best in all of your forms. It says, Venus and Serena concentrate hard, trying not to hear the gunfire down the street. Like a cocoon, the sisters focus on the ball. So pretty. I love their little braids. Like, I love the patterns that the author / illustrator puts into these paintings. It says, the boys start hanging around and watching. The sisters have their attention and respect. Venus and Serena hit the ball so hard and fast that the boys cheer them on and protect them. You see? You know what's really interesting? A lot of people will talk trash about gang members because, they do terrible things. But, a lot of them just started off as hurt children. And even though these guys were, dangerous or pursuing themselves in dangerous activities, I think Venus and Serena, their practicing influenced the entire neighborhood. There's a, I don't know what it is, Maharishi, I think Maharishi University, somebody in that culture, or I think it was Hinduism, or I can't remember. It was a guru that mentioned that your chi, your energy, 1% of positive energy can influence an entire place. So Venus and Serena could have been that 1% that influenced their entire neighborhood. We don't know what became of those boys that were watching them. Maybe they were inspired and they decided to go down a different path. Maybe they turned to pursue their own dreams. But I like that the author focuses on them. Like, it shows the boys smiling. It's not a one-dimensional thing. It's not a one-layered thing. You might see a gangbanger, but how did they become that way? They were a baby at one point, and something traumatized them to lead them down that path. So that inner child is still inside of them. That 1% is still inside of them. They can have a complete spiritual revolution. Just from you mastering your own talents influences the entire world. Even if you think that you have nothing worth sharing with the world, somebody's life is affected in some way. I know personally only one person whose my art affected them, and it was a woman that wanted to draw, and I guess she got inspired by me and she became a painter. And she's actually selling her work. She has like art shows and all of these different things. I'm like, incredible. Anyway, word gets around about how those Williams sisters can hit that tennis ball. Offers to give the sisters new tennis balls, new rackets, new tennis clothes, and chances to play tennis matches arrive at the house in Compton. Mama braids Venus's hair for her first tournament. The outflowing of support. Oh my God. I love this too. Afrocentric. Okay. So, there is one part when Venus walks out onto the perfect green court, she sees a sea of white faces. Concentrate, she tells herself. I don't know why, but this reminds me of when I was a child. Because I went to a predominantly white school, and, you know, sometimes people meant well, but, you know, sometimes I was kind of uncomfortable with some of the things that would happen to me. And I always felt like I had to try my best to prove myself. Like, I had to go to the furthest to prove that I could do something. And it wasn't just in school. It'd be outside of school. Like, it felt like everybody was watching me. Dance class, everybody. Everything I did was watch to see if I could do my best. And I feel like for them it was even harder because at that time, you didn't see that many black tennis players. I mean, you might have had Arthur Ashe and was it Althea Gibson, but she was a little bit earlier than him if she played tennis. But I do know Arthur Ashe. But as far as like young black tennis players that were girls wearing beads and stuff, like nobody really saw that. So they were paving a path for their own. Their trophy collection begins. I love this. I love this picture. It's like they're so little and they're holding such a big trophy. Word gets around. A tennis academy invites the sister and their family to Florida. Venus and Serena practice under palm trees and go to school and practice and go to school until mommy and daddy say they are old enough to play in big tournaments. Where you can see how they changed over time. Their bodies starting to form like true athletes. Now it's not these little skinny little girls. Now it's like boom, muscle, okay? Trophies make some people green with envy, but the sisters concentrate, not hearing the boos. They keep on winning. They are powerful. I remember these faces because I got a lot of those when I was a child. But keep winning. Keep winning. The sisters try new ways of dressing and new hairstyles no one has seen on a tennis court before. Venus starts a business and designs tennis clothes and still plays tennis. I love that the author shows the other talents that the sisters have. You see? Because sometimes when you have an icon in a certain field, we just focus on that. Like, for example, Dr. George Washington Carver, people be like, oh, he invented a lot of things for the peanut, and that's all they remember. But this man was not only an author, he was a poet, he was a visual artist, he also did community activism by going out into neighborhoods with his cart and creating pamphlets for farmers and different things. So, and he was also very spiritual. He had a beautiful singing voice. He was not a one-dimensional person. So I love that the author showed that these girls or these women had other talents as well that they're pursuing. And the beautiful, beautiful braids. If you're gonna do it, if you're gonna be the first to do it, you better do it in a way that you remember. Serena acts on TV and still plays tennis, but anyone can get sick. Venus gets a disease that makes her weak, too weak to play tennis. She fights to recover and play again. Serena gets a blood clot in her lungs. She fights to recover and play again. I also enjoyed that she mentions the vulnerability of these two athletes. I don't remember what Venus had. It was some type of ailment, but miraculously, over the course of time, both of them overcame their ailments and they were able to perform tennis again. That's what happens when you love something. Nothing can keep you from the thing that you love. That's why I think this author wrote Henri's Scissors, because even though that man could not get up out of his bed, he created his art in a different way. Or like John Milton. John Milton went blind, yet still, he dictated Paradise Lost to his daughter, even though he was blind. If you really want your dreams to come forth, you gotta put in effort. So the sisters get better. And when the sisters play each other before thousands of people, that cocoon of concentration wraps around each of them. It's like they're alone on the court, just like they were on the raggedy court in Compton, spirits soaring high together. So beautiful. Sisters. Oh, so gorgeous. I'm loving this author. Every book I read by her is always perfection. She does not use that many words, yet she still gets the point across, and she has beautiful illustrations. So if you are a person that loves just books like this, I would recommend this book for you. And stay tuned, because after this video, there will be a little slideshow celebrating the successes of Venus and Serena Williams. So thank you everyone for watching this video, and have a beautiful, beautiful, happy reading. Bye bye.